On this next episode of the process, I had to have a conversation with my friend Jasmin Jeffery. Jasmine is somebody that I admire their work. She's a PhD student at Johns Hopkins, studying cellular and molecular biology. Got her bachelor's in biochemistry. And the research she's doing currently, she's looking at, and Jasmine, if you're listening to me, please don't tell me I got this wrong, but she's doing stem cell research on testosterone cells, trying to understand what makes them regenerate. And I've always been fascinated. And what she does, I call her often just to get an update. And I just felt like her story was something I wanted to capture on the podcast because she is doing something that I personally have never really been around. And I just always find it interesting to hear what's new, what she's working on, and just really wanted to understand her life, where she's been, and what led her to this point. Because she really has done a lot up to this point, and I know she's going to continue to do great things in life. So, uh, if you're listening to this, you know anybody that wants to be a PhD student, please share this with them. We love to get these stories to the people that would love to hear it. And without further ado, I'll bring in episode 5 of the process. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoy. Where are you at? Where have you been, and where are you going?
Okay, cool. So where I'm at, where I've been, and where I'm going. Where I'm at, I am in the final year of my PhD. That's where I'm at. I'm in the final year of my PhD. I'm on the brink of something very new and exciting in my career and in my journey. I'm at a crossroads. That's where I'm at.
Mm.
Where I've been a lot of places. I've seen a lot of things. I've lived in 4 or 5 cities across the United States, West Coast to East Coast. I've I've been I've been down and out. They thought they had me. I've also been up. Where I'm going. Where I'm going.
Where you
Hmm.
feel like you're going? Do you have a vision?
I do have a vision. I think that I'm going in a direction where my dreams are not too big.
Hmm.
Like in a direction where everything that I dreamed and desired is just coming together. That's where I'm going.
That's interesting. I never heard anybody say that. I'm in a place where my dreams are not too big. Like, are you saying that now, like those big dreams that you had once long ago, like they're like it's a reality, like it's becoming reality. That's what you're saying?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying.
That's beautiful. Like
Yep.
what does that mean like in life? Like is it work or is it school? Is it people, friends, family? Like what is
It,
it?
it's definitely work and family for sure. Work in the sense like, I think we all have these things that were like, this would be my dream is to own this and do this and like have my work be this type of flexible in my life. But then for some reason, a lot of us are like, that's not realistic. You know, that is where I'm like, no, it's very realistic for me to have a plant business. It's very realistic for me to learn how to do floral art.
Hmm.
As far as like family, and I know that sounds like probably so wild because of what you know that I've been doing this whole time, which is science.
Yeah.
But as far as like family and stuff, I think that a lot of us maybe this is a huge generalization, but maybe a lot of us in the Black community, especially, don't particularly believe in the fairy tale family.
Mm,
And I'm starting to feel like that is a dream that is not too big. That is 100% attainable.
the family.
Hmm.
How you feel like you getting ready to have a family?
Not getting
Yeah,
ready to
messy.
have a family. Hold on,
Messy. I'm being messy.
hold on.
Nah, nah.
But I definitely feel like just in the simplest form of like relationships, like I feel like a
Yeah.
lot of us really be um expecting the worst or not even expecting the least out of partnerships. And I'm like, I'm in a place where I feel like that's not where I'm going.
Mm,
I'm going to a place, a bell hooks type of love type of place.
yeah. So the love is just like really genuine in your life right now. Like it's a lot of really solid people around you. I said I'm glad it's like that because you know not having the presence of people because I'm blessed to say like I'm in that situation as well. It's amazing. When I was younger, I didn't have that. Like when I was like early teens through
Mhm.
the younger age, it really wasn't like that with anybody. So I know it's like it's one of those things like you thank God every day for it. Like it's just these people really are. It's nice when you can look at somebody and be like, I know you actually there for me. Like this isn't fake. This isn't anything that I had to question. So, but I kind of want to take a step back because we got to go in on the where you been piece because you try to slide past a lot, and I knew you was gonna do it. I knew you was gonna do it, but we're gonna go in. So like from Memphis
Yep.
to Hampton
Yep.
to now Johns Hopkins.
Hmm.
What is it? How do you view it? Like, because you're going from Memphis to First Virginia, like, and I've been to Memphis, the culture there, the lifestyle, like, what was that like transitioning into undergrad at Hampton? Was it easy for you, or was it like, yo, like, if these people are very different up here, like, what was that? What was that time like?
It definitely was the second one. But then I think that it's like not fair to just say I went from Memphis to Hampton. Because I think, like I was one of those kids. My parents shipped me off to nerd camp when I was real
Mhm.
young. Like I'm like entering the seventh grade. I don't even know how old you are at that point in your life, but they shipped me off to Atlanta. They dropped me off. They literally put me out the car with my things and walked away.
Dang.
And I mean, I was kind of running away too because I was excited to be there. But it's just to say that I did that twice. I had been living, and then I had also lived somewhere else. So it's just like I the thing that gets hard about moving places and like just going off to college, like going away to college, is really being in a new place. And I think that they did me a huge service by like starting me young and dropping me off in new places and letting me figure out how to navigate new environments on my own. So even though like getting to Hampton was a culture shock for sure, it was like, wow, people are very different here. It I already had some tools in my tool belt to figure out how to do things on my own, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense.
Yeah, so being in Hampton was definitely an experience. Like I wouldn't change it for the world, but I wouldn't say it was the easiest thing either. I think that during college we just trying to figure out so much
Yeah,
on who we are,
yeah,
what our identity is. Because if you like once if you're like, oh, I'm comfortable in my identity and my identity is like well accepted and it's not counterculture, then like that's cool. But if you're like me, like I was a person who didn't want to be like everybody else. That makes it a little different.
yeah.
Hmm.
So I mean, hold on, wait. So from then we go from Hampton to John Hopkins up here in Baltimore. Like, what's that? I know that transition. is tough. At least in my opinion. I don't know. Like that's just two totally different energies. You right by the
Okay,
beach to in Baltimore.
okay, but I left Hampton and I lived in Seattle for a year.
Oh yeah.
So I did like a year of research in Seattle. And that I think was much more of a transition than coming back to Baltimore. Coming to Baltimore is like coming back home to Memphis. Like Baltimore and Memphis are so similar in
Mhm.
so many ways that leaving Seattle, I don't know if we could curse on here.
It's all good.
Okay. But leaving that environment, which was amazing in and of itself, like there's
Yeah.
definitely like so many great things I learned out there and got to experience out there. But leaving there and coming to Baltimore, I was like, whoo, a breath of fresh air, Black people. Thank you, God. I think that yeah, Baltimore, it's been a transition in terms of like I don't even get to just come here and experience the city. I gotta come here and then I gotta get focused and do school.
Yeah.
I wish I would have been able to come here and just learn the city and like just live. I feel like that would have been so much more fun.
I mean, I definitely feel you on that. Like when I first got up here, it was during the pandemic, and it was just like I was just stuck. It's like in the crib all the time, so I didn't get to explore. But when you do get a chance to live, like you kind of appreciate it out here, like how nice it is, all the different areas you can go. Even now I'm back in school, I don't even get to exploit that as much as I like. But I definitely know what you mean. I definitely know what you mean. But I want to ask this, like, so to like take a step back again, like, picking your undergrad in biochemistry to cellular and molecular biology,
Yeah.
PhD. Oh my goodness. How has this always just pulled you? Like is it from a kid? Like, you say your parents sent you off to nerd camp, so it had to be it had to be something at some point that was like pulling you. Was it early or was it a late thing? What was it?
It might be a mix. In terms of early, I definitely was one of those kids that like I know I was one of those kids that everybody else hated.
Really?
I mean, I was definitely well loved and well liked once I got to high school, but in elementary school, like I was definitely a teacher's pet to the point where I had an elementary school teacher. Mind you, growing up in Memphis, all my teachers were Black basically until I got to high school.
Yeah.
Um, and so one of my favorite teachers, she was in second grade. She was our second grade teacher and she moved up to third grade with us. When I was in third grade, she looked me dead in my eyes and was like, "You're going to be a doctor one day."
Mm.
And I just believed her. I didn't even ask any questions. I just knew that was my path from that point on.
Second
Um,
grade.
mhm. At the
Damn.
time, I wanted to be a vet because I loved animals. So when she told me I was going to be a doctor, I was like, "Okie dokie."
Mhm.
Ooh. Um, but yeah, that was the moment. And then basically I went the rest of my formative years feeling like I was super, super involved in high school, like super involved. And so I had formed this like passion for doing things in the community that I thought helped people. Like I just really wanted to make sure that my life wasn't wasted in the sense that I wanted to make sure my life was contributing to the greater good or like contributing making somebody else's life better. And I looked around and like, yeah, school was coming easy to me, but English and reading was not coming easy to me. I actually almost didn't even graduate from high school because I was failing English my senior year.
Wow.
Yep. I
Really?
I made like I made two Fs. I think I made three Fs on my report card in English senior year.
Mm.
I mean, humble brag, but I still was in the top 10. I think I was like number 7.
Mm.
But it still is like That was terrifying. I'm like, I got F's on my report card. I had been hiding it from my parents. I just was like, I can't do this. And so I was looking around at careers that I could have, and I was like, I just want to choose something where I don't have to write.
Mm.
I was like, you doing good in chemistry? Math is usually kind of fun, but chemistry is a little bit more fun. Um, you can help people by doing science and like being some type of engineer and like creating technologies that people need by like addressing health disparities with science. Like you could do something that actually helps your community if you did science. And I was like, okay, don't have to write nothing, help my community. Chemistry is cool.
Yeah.
So that's where we at.
Yeah. So what is it? So what is it that you're researching now? Like, you talked to me about it, but I think you should like, shameless plug it. Just throw it in there. So the
Mm.
things that you've been doing in your PhD program. You don't have to go in full depth because we know we could go. You done did it to me. Go full Chinese and you speaking in a different language.
Cool
But
Chinese.
yeah, but full. Excuse me, Mandarin for anybody else listening.
Yes, 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 yes,
Yes,
yes.
but like, what is it that you've been doing? Cause I find it interesting. I ask every time we speak, like, so what's the update? What's the news?
So update, yeah. I feel like first of all, I was wrong. There is so much writing in science. I was dead wrong. As far as my work right now, I my overall research goal is to study um, stem cell dynamics in reproductive organs. So I focus on the testis specifically. We
Hmm.
know that, as men age, uh they might suffer from low testosterone syndrome in general, which, can lead to sterility, loss of muscle mass, depression, fatigue, etc. And it's very, very common. And that is sometimes mediated by a like loss of the cells that produce testosterone.
Hmm.
And a long time ago in the field, we figured out that there is this paradigm where we can study the loss and regeneration of those cells that make the testosterone. So that is my research focus, is studying regeneration of those testosterone producing cells and trying to determine their origins and the mechanism by which they regenerate.
Hmm.
So it's a very, even my scientific journey was a little bit twisting and turning because I started out with that, like, I want to help people thing in mind. And I definitely wanted to be a biomedical engineer. But at Hampton, we had biochemistry and we had chemical engineering. And I was like, I don't know. I really think life is cool. So I'm going to do the bio part. And that led me down a completely different path. Like I did do some drug delivery, scaffold building, and like things that were supposed to be for like actual medicines and drugs.
Hmm.
Then I transitioned into immunology because at the time I was like, okay, autoimmune diseases. Some autoimmune diseases like rheumatoid arthritis, um, like disproportionately affect Black folks. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna study immunology. I'm gonna be able to like, get in the weeds with autoimmunity and how it affects us. And then somehow immunology kind of expanded, like my interest expanded because the immune cells all come from a stem cell, like your like T cells, your B cells, your blood, your red and white blood cells all come from one common progenitor. And in some of my years of research, I realized that I thought it was really cool how basically our whole body comes from one single cell and they all have the same DNA, but all the cells are doing different things. Like how did my skin cells decide to be skin cells and my liver cells decided to become liver cells and my kidney cells decided to be specialized to filter toxins out of my blood? Like that became really interesting to me. And I think it pulled me further and further away from the actual translational application of science and more into the theoretical and basic biology. So it's like I started out with this goal in mind, but my interest and like the opportunities that were presented to me kind of led me on this twisty, turny path to doing something completely like I would have never thought I was gonna do this in my PhD.
It's really interesting. I mean, shout out to you first off for working on why testosterone stops producing over time. Hopefully, this all gets solved by the time I'm about 60. You know.
You know what? We're gonna put you on the no-fly list. Please
What?
on the blacklist. Honestly, it's such a complex. It's actually really cool to me because it's such a complex topic. I gave a talk at a conference centered around the testes, the North American testes workshop last May. And it was just really cool to see the differing views because some people want to study this because, for example, young boys get cancer. When children get cancer, they get chemo. When the little boys get chemo, that can ruin their chance of having a family for the rest of their lives. And like when you're 10, you don't even know what you want. So I
Yeah.
have to fix that for them. But then on the other side, the Earth's population has not stopped growing in decades. Like there has not been one dip in population growth for real. And I mean, somebody please fact check me on that, but it might be slowing, but it's always growing. And that is an issue in and of itself when we know that our planet has a limited capacity. So it's like there's two sides of that argument of like increasing fertility. I think they're both very valid. So
Mm,
who knows what my research will actually be used for in the future?
mm. That's interesting. I never thought of it that way. I'm over here, I never thought about the increased testosterone means, men are more fertile. But I'm sitting here thinking about just, being in
Yeah.
shape, being
Yeah.
swole. I
Being
love that
dry.
conversation. That's a really interesting conversation. Obviously I don't live in that realm, but I want to ask is like, what is so on the back end of this, like I know you said earlier, you kind of have like an altruistic view, like you want to work, you want to do good things for people. But like, is that what's keeping you motivated through this program? Like, what what's keeping you going day to day? Because as I live life, I understand like keeping finding that thing that keeps you going is difficult. So, what is it for you?
Hmm. I think I might need to think on that a little bit. Let me see. What is it that keeps me going day to day? Because I do think that when you in the thick of it, it gets easy to forget about your ultimate purpose and the reason why you did this in the first place. I
Yeah.
will also say when I looked up, like, okay, I knew I wanted to use science for good, but when I looked up what I could do, like, I remember this too. I was sitting in my freshman dorm. I don't know why. I don't know if this is just a dorm thing, but it's just sitting up on that high ass bed, legs swinging. And I just was like, what can you do with the biochemistry degree? And what came up seemed like with a PhD, you had more freedom to make your own choices in your research. And I don't know, it was definitely science specific, but what I got from it was with the PhD, you will have freedom. And that's definitely probably oversimplifying it a lot, but that I think is what keeps me going is like knowing that when I get to the end of this, I will have choices. I can do anything, technically, I can do anything I would want to do as long as I like, start making the connections or just marketing myself. Like the only thing stopping me from doing anything right now is marketing myself and selling myself. It's not the credentials, it's not the experience, it's not, all that other stuff. It's just me putting my mind to it and selling myself.
Mm,
I think the idea that I can have the freedom to make my own choices maybe that is what's keeping me going every day.
Mm.
I think I also just have this issue of not being able to pivot. Like I want to be way more flexible. But I know me personally, once I get in the mindset of I want to do something, I fixate on it and then I'm stuck. Now I'm doing it.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, that's how you have to be like that though when it comes to stuff, especially something like this, because this is like I realize that PhD realm, it's not certain. The end isn't like a finite thing. Like it could last way longer. So like I know
Mhm.
that fixation is like that has to be different. I know, and I feel like I ain't gonna lie, that shit would drive me crazy. Just like thinking like, what if, in that light, like, does that get to you? Like, oh, if these, because it's not even just you, it's your research, and money has to come in, and all these factors kind of got to run smoothly for you. Like, what has that been like?
It's been tough because it's like, yes, it's definitely the money, but also what I probably left out is that I work with live animals. So I do my research on mice and that presents like they're living creatures and I need them to procreate and have babies. And
Yeah.
sometimes they don't feel like having kids. And and that means
We need.
that just
Oh
means
my god. You're not gonna do it on air. We're not doing it. Hey.
and like, but no, for real, that's another resource that you gotta like. You said money. Money is very important, but man, animals are my primary resource, and when they not acting right, that has definitely been a strain. But I do think, and like you said, like sometimes I can do everything right, and the science is alive. Like biological things are alive, and we know as humans, we're human. We don't do everything right. We be messing up. And I feel like I could do everything that I can to make an experiment go well, but sometimes it just really will not work out. What makes it harder is when I've tried my best to do an experiment well, but I know I made a mistake.
Hmm.
And now I'm like, this is all my fault. Like that is the part that can get really tough and like make you spiral a little bit is knowing that the end is not certain. Everything, like your graduation date is not set in stone. Everything is relying on you, your productivity, and your own drive. So when you make a mistake, it can get easy to exaggerate that and to like basically have a pity party and beat up on yourself.
Yeah.
So it's definitely been mentally trying, but it's also, I mean, at this point, I've already gone through the thing of like, oh, I want to quit. At this point, I feel like all of that stuff is making me mentally stronger. That's what I like to say. That's what I like to tell myself, at least.
Yeah, it's what it is. At least that's what I think it is.
Yeah, I do think that it's really like anything else in life, you really just gotta wake up every day and keep going. Because that's when you really start to like that's the difference between progress and failure, right? Is you continuing to put one foot in front of the other no matter what. Definitely want to make sure you're going in the right direction, but you got to be going. And I definitely have lately been in some situations with my research where I've just been very, very exhausted. Don't know how I'm going to wrap all of this up in time for myself, like my own personal deadline. But it's also like, I'm going to just keep going to work and find something to do in that lab that's going to get me where I want to go.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about that a lot. How exactly do I strategize my graduation? Because all of that is really, it's like, damn, I'm tired of being a project manager and the project doer at the same time.
Yeah. No, I mean, I definitely understand that. My bad. I thought she was about to keep going. I was listening. Yeah. No, I definitely understand what you mean from that, though. I can imagine that's exhausting, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But is it your graduation is when exactly? You know, I keep
Oh,
messing it up. You know, it's not for me to, I want you to say it for the people. I know when it is. 2025. Now I'm playing it's 2024. 2024. I know.
yes,
But
yes. Hopefully end of 2024. That's what we're looking at. I will say, um, to your last question, like what keeps me going, it's a lot easier to keep going when you think you have something lined up. When you just when you don't even know if there's something, a job at the end of this for you,
yeah,
it was a little bit more difficult. But now that I think that I have something lined up, it's like, okay, we gotta get moving because we gotta hit that 2024 deadline. And on top of just the school stuff, like I mentioned earlier, there are like places that I feel like I'm going. There are interests that I feel like I want to pursue. I really want to make sure that I get done in time, that I finish in time with my PhD so that I have like time to take a sabbatical and pursue
yeah,
those interests.
yeah,
I really, really, really want to make sure that I have at least a couple months to dive into some other things before jumping right back into the rat race and starting a job. And
yeah. I definitely agree with that sentiment. That's like my mindset once I finish like this master's. Just because like I mean, obviously I'm not in school as long as you, but it's just I want to take those first 2 to 3 months afterwards. Like I'm turning the pressure off in terms of work and thinking about like trying to excel at some maximal rate. I'm gonna just like enjoy life and explore like the things that I want to see and just I don't know, just shift the energy because I think that's one thing is like I just feel like it's overdone. Like for me, I'm coming to the end of like even though my program was 16 months, like this has really been. And you saw me. It's funny when I first my last job. What did I do? I borrowed your laptop because my laptop was broken. And that's when I started using it to start studying R and regression analysis and like that started in 2021. So now it's like 2023. Like people like it's 16 months, but for me it's really been like 2 years, 2, 3 years. Like so I definitely feel that like I need to just take the sabbatical. My friend Abdel says take a hedonistic route with life and just enjoy stuff. You know, I love that phrase now, but
yes,
yeah,
delusion. We're living in hedonism and delusion.
yeah, but I do want to ask you this question as we're coming near the end. So I ask everybody this. If you could tell yourself anything 5 years from now, what would you tell yourself?
5 years. Oh wait, so
In the future.
in the future.
Talk to your future self.
Ooh,
Tough question. Everybody's always like, hmm. But I always say like you can't talk to yourself in the past, but you can definitely talk to yourself in the future.
mm. To my future self,
Yeah.
first thing that's come to my mind, honestly, is like, see, I told you.
Mm.
I told you it was all gonna work out, right? Oh, okay. That's genuinely like what I would say to my future self.
Yeah. Uh,
Because I do think that like I'm the type of person that maybe my dad says this all the time that I'm like a worrier. I wouldn't put that on myself, but I do definitely think and turn over all the different stones that can be turned over.
mm.
And like the things are gonna work out how they're supposed to work out. Like this definitely being in a PhD program used to be something that I was like, I don't even know if I could really do that. And then here I am. And I know there are things in my future that I'm trying to come out of the mindset of, I don't even know if I can really do that, to that is absolutely possible for you. And 5 years from now, I want to be able to tell my future self, like, oh, I told you so. Like, I don't even know why you was worrying.
Mm.
I don't know why you was worrying because it was all gonna work out.
I know that feeling exactly. That's what I told people. I tell my future self too. Like I told you, don't even be surprised. You've been known, you just wouldn't accept it. You know, that's what it be. Like it's like stuff gonna be okay, but it's hard to just like hold on to that idea. Like on the uncomfortness, the uncertainty makes you go harder though. So I guess it's kind of a gift within of itself. But
I guess so. The uncertainty, there's an
but
uncertainty
it
when you go
depends.
hard.
It depends, I guess. When I think about what I just said, I don't know if the uncertainty makes me go harder in every situation, but it definitely makes me keep mapping out options just in case, like, like I gotta keep creating because it's not there yet.
I definitely see that. I can definitely see uncertainty making you go harder. I think I need stability.
Yeah,
I need stability to really like unlock potential and like really get into my best work that I know that I can produce.
yeah,
Hmm.
I definitely understand that. I mean, I don't know. It's really interesting with you, like just your story, everything that you do. Um, I don't know. I always tell you this, and you'd be like, "Why do you just want to hear from me?" It's just like for me, I never. For me, it's like you're a PhD student at Johns Hopkins, cellular and molecular biology, biology. Like to me, it's just so fascinating. Like, and then to hear your stories and then realize, like, we ain't even going on this. You running stuff over there. You know,
Uh,
just like you described to me people look up to you at that program. For me, that's like wow, that's amazing. Like just to be able to have normal conversation with you, like they understand. For me, when I was younger, I would have never thought that this would be a normality for me. So I really want to let you know, like I'm fascinated. I will continue to be fascinated in your life for those reasons. So don't be surprised.
good.
Now, like, so give me an update. What's going on? Did you start the testosterone thing? Like I've been having some issues now.
Please. Oh my God.
Trying to I still got it.
But I really appreciate you. You definitely be letting me know. I think, yeah, it'd be hard for you to like, for me, I'm speaking for me, it'd be hard to step outside of myself and like appreciate how what I'm doing might seem to the next person and how what I'm doing would have sound so unreal to younger me. So I really appreciate you. You really do be, you know, letting me know.
I put it in perspective. I think it's just important in general. Like we all, especially as African Americans, because like you're an example to somebody, whether you want to or not, you're gonna be an example to somebody. It's like, bro, you gotta realize your place. Where are you at in life? And if you're in a unique spot, always know that because for somebody else, just hearing what you did may spark a whole chain of motivation in their body, and you'll never know about it.
Mhm.
You would have never known that you motivated them. But it just mattered to me. It matters that that person gets motivated. So yeah, that's why I always feel like it's important to keep that in your head. So yeah, but I'm gonna get ready to wrap it up. Anything else you want to leave to any aspiring cellular and molecular biology PhD students? Anybody from Memphis? Anybody at Hampton? I know some people from Hampton may be listening. Anything you want to say? Anybody from Seattle? Anything you want to say?
Yeah, I think I would say never forfeit your authenticity. Never think you have to forfeit who you are to do this type of stuff.
Hmm.
I used to think that me being from Memphis and maybe my little accent and like me wearing look, I got the large God is not listening right now, I came in with the long nails. I came in basically doing what I felt most comfortable with in my culture. And for some reason I used to feel like that would hold me back. I feel like being my goofy self, my like just smiley self would hold me back. And I do feel like being your authentic self is 100% your magic. So don't think that you have to forfeit or sacrifice who you are to get where you want to be.
I love that message. Authenticity is key. Sure. But with that, I'm gonna wrap it up. If you related, she motivated you, hit that like button. If you know somebody that's trying to work with testes, pass on this podcast. Thank you for listening. And, this has been a process.